Let's consider what we see here or what is inside the Arcadia method. The Arcadia method contains of 4 or sometimes of 5 steps or phases, and each phase contains several activities that should be performed. So we have here the operational analysis, which has the focus to define the stakeholder needs, understand the stakeholders and their interactions. Then we have the system analysis, which tries to position the right system to meet or that meets all the needs of the stakeholders we have considered in the operational analysis. And when we have positioned the system with the system analysis, we start to defining the inner structure of the system from logical perspective. When done, we continue with the physical perspective, and also when this is done, we can think about the product strategy, which contains decisions such as make or buy and much more. We can click on each of these phases and see what is inside. Let's start with the operational analysis. We click on that, and here are some categories. We can open them, and then we see some activities that should be done by performing the operational analysis. For example, we can create a new operational entity breakdown diagram. We can create a new operational capabilities diagram. We can create a new operational activity breakdown diagram, and so on. So we see that here are some diagrams that we can create. We can click on the next phase, so on the system analysis phase. When we click on that, here again we see some categories. We can open them, and then we will see some activities we can do in the system analysis phase. The system analysis phase and each following phase starts always with the transition activities or actions. When we click on that, the artifacts which are created in the phase before are transferred to artifacts we can work in the phase which we are now. So for example, in the operational analysis phase, we create operational capabilities, and when we click on this transition function here, these operational capabilities are transferred to capabilities. With these capabilities, we can work in the system analysis phase. This is done with all artifacts or with several artifacts that are created in the phase before, and we can reuse them in the phase we are now. When done so, again we see here some diagrams we can create in this phase. For example, we can create a new contextual system actors diagram. We can create a mission or capability blank diagram. We can create a functional breakdown diagram. This is new. We can create a functional data flow blank diagram. We can create system architecture diagrams. We can create interface diagrams. We can create sequence or scenario diagrams. This is similar to UML. We can create class diagrams, and we have seen already before, we can create state or mode machine diagrams. When we have done that, we can click on the next phase, so the logical architecture phase, and here again we see some categories. Let's open them, and we will see a similar pattern. We have some transition functions. They are here, and also here, and then some diagrams we can create. For example, again, a functional breakdown diagram, a functional data flow diagram, now a logical component breakdown diagram, or a logical architecture diagram, a sequence or scenario diagram, again the interface diagram, and again the class diagram, mode and state machine diagram. When done, we can go to the next phase, the physical architecture phase. And again, we will see now there's a similar pattern. There are some categories. Let's open them. And we see again the activities we can do in this physical architecture phase. This is again some transition functions to reuse the things we have already defined before. And then we have again the functional breakdown diagram, the data flow diagram, now the physical component breakdown diagram. Before it was the logical component breakdown diagram, the physical architecture diagram, some sequence and scenario diagrams, interface diagrams, class diagrams, and mode and state machine diagrams. Finally, we can click on the last step of the Arcadia method, the product strategy, in which we create, as it is named here, the end product breakdown structure. This is done with the use of configuration item. We will see later what this is, but we can create this configuration items breakdown diagram, and we can create an architecture diagram. If necessary, also we can create here, for example, a sequence diagram or scenario diagram. Sometimes it is called scenario diagram, sometimes it is called sequence diagram, but the idea is the same and the diagram type is the same. With that done, we can now start creating first diagrams. And always think about that, and we will see this while modeling. This tab here, which shows the Arcadia method, is a well guideline for modeling and always contains the most important links for all the activities we will do.